better where it's home.
That's right.
I pointed out that Mountain came to a very unhappy end. But looking at all these lovely places as we travel across the United States, I'm sort of loath to begin a sort of criticism, but anyway, here we go. Oh,
Louder.
Louder, please.
Great that the Department of Justice has heaped upon the United States will shame that will last forever in the persecution of Julian Assange. The shame that the Swedish prosecuting authority brought upon Sweden has reduced the standing of Sweden from a model society we thought up until 1980 odd to an image of a country known only for selling junk furniture at IKEA. The United Kingdom, that's where all the laws started in Magna Carta in 800, where the barons insisted that laws stand between themselves and the sovereign. As a consequence, the law becomes a two-way item and a shield to protect the people. And that's evolved over the hundreds of years into the circumstance where we have formal laws standing between the state and us. The United Kingdom has brought this prosecuting authority to keep Julian in the embassy. That's right. And it all documented. The photographer here, Niels Ladeford, last year he and I went to Gothenburg in Sweden and picked up a FOI relief saying, "You're not getting cold feet on this, are you? There's more to this than simple extradition." We advise strongly that the Swedish prosecuting authority doesn't proceed the case by coming to interview Julian in the embassy. Julian's lawyers took 2 cases in Sweden to force the Swedish to obey their own laws. It's not something they made up, it's their own laws that they were ignoring. These procedural contortions, fabrication of evidence, continue right through Julian's 11, now moving to 12 years up to detention. Come to today or yesterday, where the FBI had made no inquiry to the quality of the information, that they were just enthusiastic about stringing Julian up. William Barr's the fellow, the Attorney General of the United States. Under H.W. Bush, he was known as the Snatcher because of his willingness and capacity to manipulate extradition treaties between the United States and countries wherein they wanted to judicially kidnap people and bring them to the United States. Charming fellow. Brought Keir Starmer, who's now head of the head, starting from Magna Carta, one of the magnificent flecks of gold that come to human beings because we grind up a lot of ore. We have a lot of ideas, and occasionally you get a fleck of gold. Magna Carta being one. And then we come to the Constitution of the United States in 1797 from memory. A fleck of gold. The First Amendment and the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment is an umbrella that covers all of our arguments and gathers us underneath like a mother hen its chickens. Gathers us. We can have right wing. Gathers all of us under its protection, so that as a consequence of that, the polity, us, increase by conversation and understanding how to measure our society, how to contribute more, and how to evaluate government actions and go to government and say, we want this, not that, not what you're doing. It enables us to have those conversations and improve gradually the quality of the polity, us, the constituents. Chelsea Manning and Julian. Chelsea gave those, well, alleged to, gave those leaks, the Iraq war files, the Afghan war files, the Guantanamo Bay files, and the diplomatic cables. A magnificent effort. I measure Chelsea Manning the way I measure Joan of Arc. A great figure in time, a historical figure.
He is.
The result of those publications, they're on file at WikiLeaks. You can go there and you can look up other figures around the world, Cameron from the United Kingdom, etc. And you can evaluate and you can build within yourself and your friends and your community knowledge equal to what the State Department has and says that they're special because they have this knowledge, where you can do the same yourself. We're using those tools on WikiLeaks. The spread, it's taken 10 years to seep through the body politic of the United States and the Western world, and now they're withdrawing from Afghanistan. And it's only come about because of your concerns, the gathering up of a wide, thin, gradually deepening knowledge among the polity of the United States and the Western world that we begin to doubt, and we call them now endless wars, which is a sort of an insult, to those that manage because my country is involved, I'll say manage our defence. A comment, endless wars. You can't even finish a war. You start them, you destroy a society and stay there forever and a day. That understanding has percolated up and they're out of it. Guantanamo Bay. The great American lawyer Clyde Stafford Smith established an NGO called Reprieve and got the Guantanamo Bay files downloaded from WikiLeaks, and went to Guantanamo Bay and managed to free a number of prisoners. In particular, this one, because it's gross, it sticks in my mind. A United Kingdom citizen was in Guantanamo Bay and being tortured by having his dick cut with a razor blade. And managed to free them. 22 children went to Guantanamo Bay. Can you believe that? 22 children, and he managed to, well, they were no longer children, because they got old. He managed to free them. Guantanamo Bay, because we are, well, forgive me, I'm not an American, but my country Guantanamo Bay is because the people there, the administration of Guantanamo Bay doesn't have to obey the laws that we exist under, that all Americans exist under. They put it over there so they can do anything. Torture modules, all of it. It's nauseating, But The release of those files has brought about the urge from the populace that this must stop in Guantanamo Bay, gotta go. And so it is with us, not, I call them rainmakers, not rainmakers up there, but precipitating upwards from us. These changes come. We were doing a talk in Duke University with, I think it's Duke, it's spelled D-U-Q-U-E. I put a $100 bill up on the board and I say to the students, the fresh students, you can have that if you show one item of advance, of social advance, that's come from the top down. He's still got his $100. He's been teaching there 20 years and nobody's managed to claim the money. That's the point I want to make, that these releases have percolated through the society and begun to change it. Because this society is huge and has a lot of interest in government, you don't, they're out of Iraq. Guantanamo Bay is on the list, very high to close. Why did it come about? Allowed the discussions and the dissemination of the knowledge into us, and we brought about the change. Forgive me for saying we, it's just the way I speak. I feel bonded here, So I just finish with those understandings. The first one is the shame and disgrace that those parts of the DOJ have brought upon the United States in the persecution of Julian Assange. The disgrace that the Australian government has felt for its complicity. Acquiescence over time is complicity. The disgrace that the Swedish people have to bear for the actions of the Swedish prosecuting authority, and the disgrace that the United Kingdom bear for the actions of the Crown Prosecuting Service. That's the shame and disgrace. As opposed to that is the joy that a community can feel that in the way the government's act. That's pretty good. You just have to, say thanks to yourself. So that there's no burden of conscience upon this society for the actions of the disgrace that conscious. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an upwelling of support and demand for improvements in the structure and improvements in the administration and improvements in the social outlook of government. And I thank you all. I hope I haven't gone on too long.
Thank you, John Shipton. What an eloquent voice. Yes. To end the crimes of the United States, the war crimes, the torture, the occupations, the colonization. Thank you for coming here, but we're not done. Good. Good, yeah. Okay, so what next, right? One thing we can do right now, we have some postcards. If some of you who are sitting there could help distribute those postcards. Please fill out a postcard to Merrick Garland. Here. One that I would like to drive home is that the reason why this case is so important is because if they can prosecute and sentence Julian to 175 years in prison, Who's next?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Who at the New York Times? Who at the Washington Post? Who at the LA Times?
On Greenwald.
Right?
We're all Julian Assange.
We're all Julian
Assange.
Because the press knows they could be prosecuted. There is trepidation, there is fear on the part of journalists to publish information given by whistleblowers. So what happens? You have whistleblowers blowing the whistle on these horrific drone attacks. God bless Daniel Hale, who is now incarcerated for blowing the whistle. You have many more like him, but who cannot get published, who cannot bring the information to the consciousness of the U.S. public because journalists are afraid. These are the times we are living in. Please tell Merrick Garland, the Department of Justice, stop these extradition proceedings. Drop these charges under the Espionage Act. Espionage Act was written in 1917. That was supposed to be for spies. Under the Espionage Act, you are not really allowed to defend yourself at all. You cannot talk about why you revealed this classified information. It's not allowed. That's why whistleblowers are pleading guilty and, plea bargaining, because they know they can't really establish a defense under the Espionage Act. It's stacked against them. So here's what I'd like you to do, besides writing a postcard. How many of you live in Congressman Ted Lieu's district, which is Venice, okay, and the West Side? Perhaps you know people who do as well. Congressman Ted Lieu serves on the House Judiciary Committee. We need him to write a letter to the Department of Justice, to Merrick Garland, and say, drop these charges. Is he likely to do it? Not with a lot of pressure. So we need us, and we need many more of us to pressure him. Who else sits on that committee from Los Angeles? Karen Bass. Anybody in her district? All right, she's yours. Please, those who are in Karen Bass's district, we need to mobilize and organize and push her to speak out. She is not going to speak out unless she is pushed. Okay?
And make sure everybody does their cards tonight and we'll mail them tomorrow.
Exactly. Thank you, Jody. She said, make sure you do these cards before you leave. Jody and Sarah, she has her hand up. They will collect them and I will mail them on Monday. That's tomorrow. Okay.
What committee? What committee? Judiciary.
Okay, Judiciary Committee. Now, who else serves on the Judiciary Committee? Well, over in the Senate, you have Dianne Feinstein. I looked it up today. Yeah, she's still on the Judiciary Committee. Okay. Whatever you want to say about Dianne Feinstein, she is to represent us, right? And we need to take this to her office. Email her. Call her office. I'm Marcy at CodePink, MARCY at codepink.org. Email me. I'll give you the information of the person in her office who you can directly contact. But it's also going to email her. Who else sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee? Our other senator from California, Alex Padilla. Your senator, right?
Election day.
Not likely to take a risk unless there is tremendous pressure. We want members of Congress, particularly those who serve on the judiciary committees, to write a letter to the Biden administration, to the Department of Justice, and say, drop these charges. This is an outrage, right? So we've got postcards, email, call these people, op-eds. Where's the LA Times? The Washington Post published an editorial, an op-ed editorial, opposing this case, the government's case against Julian Assange, as did the New York Times. I don't know about the LA Times, that's the same one, perhaps, but if not, it's time for another one, right? So please, call the editorial staff of the LA Times, write to them. Tell them to take a stand, because they're on the line. They're the press. They have skin in this game, right? So those are a few things that we can do to amplify this campaign. And with that, I want to thank you all for coming. showing up. That's what it's all about, right? Showing up. Right. You showed up. Thank you. What are we gonna do? Free Julian Assange. What are we gonna do? Free Julian Assange. One more time. What are we gonna do? Free Julian Assange. Right. Thank you, and thank you, Gabriel Shipton. Thank you, John Shipton, for coming. And now, continue to organize.
You came down what?
One of your friends?
Testing 1 2 3. Do y'all hear me? I assume you do, so I'm gonna start talking. So here we are. There's a little press panel here for Julian Assange, and this is an event at the Oakland. No, not Oakland. I can't remember the name of the place, but the center's not open, and so they did it outside. It was not an official thing. Supposedly last minute. Code Pink organized this. There's about 50 to 60, maybe 70 people here. Poikinen of Slow News Day, and that is who is here. We are the only media here. There's a pretty short-lived event. It did start a couple minutes, maybe like 10, 15 minutes before we got up and running live. I'm going to let Pasta talk for a little bit. I'm going to go grab the back.
Go ahead. Hey, you guys. Just showing on out over here. Mr. Shipton's right over there. Let's see if we can get an interview with him in just a second. So it's kind of important. I don't know why we weren't inside today, but we'll figure it out. They're trying to get some pictures. Oy.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Shipton. Hi. So sorry, guys. Yeah. How you doing, Mr. Shipton? It's great to see you, sir.
Hi.
My name's Craig from the Convo Couch. This is Johnny. We call me Pasta. Thank you so much. We're actually friends with Action for Assange, close friends with ours, done a lot of shows with them. So I just wanted to ask you, get a little information about what's going on. So please tell the camera who you are, what you're doing here, and what's going on.
Okay, do I look there?
Right there.
My name's John Shipton. I'm Julian Assange's father. I'm travelling the United States 17 cities with Gabrielle, who's Julian's brother, to bring awareness and get a bit of spirit going in the Defend Assange.
You know, I was listening to both your speeches. I was getting a little worked up. I can't but feel a little sorrowness for what's going on with Julian, how he's being tortured. Can you give us a little insight to the information of what happened yesterday with that new information that's come to light and maybe a new avenue forward for Julian's freedom?
Well, the witness for the FBI and the Department of Justice in their prosecution of Julian in London and the charges to bring Julian to the United States for 175 years jail, that witness turned turtle and said that he made it all up, that and he, worse than that actually, he just had evidence that he made it all up, which indicates he had chat logs, which indicates that the FBI, when they went to Iceland and got him as a witness, didn't bother to do the due diligence required of the FBI for the Department of Justice and for the prosecutor. So we assume that the FBI and the prosecutor were hand in hand to bring a prosecution regardless of whether there was evidence or not.
I love the term turn turtle and stuff. What does that mean for action over here with Merrick Garland? Is there going to be any movement with him? Are you hoping for some movement with the government in Australia to now make a push, being that we have new information that's come to light about a witness, one of their key witnesses, lying?
Well, you know, Merrick Garland is a fine judicial officer of long experience. He is, and we don't approach, lawyers approach, we don't approach Merrick Garland. What we do is we approach the staff of congressmen and maybe the Judiciary Committee of the Congress of the United States and ask them to rectify the situation, but we don't approach Merrick at all.
Who do you think is our biggest ally in America's Congress when it comes to dealing with hopefully getting Julian free?
Every congressman that's concerned with the First Amendment are our allies.
So more libertarians than leftists?
No, the First Amendment is an umbrella which gathers underneath it every member of Congress and all the people of the United States. Yeah. That's important to remember. It's a constitutional artifact of the United States, and a very great one at that.
What are your thoughts as far as like independent media getting censored? We started the Fuck Censorship movement, you know, as an ode to what Julian had done. And when he opened up the door, a lot of us are demonetized, a lot of us are shadow banned, a lot of us are taken down. It seems like since Julian's arrest, we're going in the wrong direction. Do you have any thoughts about that and maybe some foresight on what you can hope for independent media?
Well, I'll just give you one clue. Last week, the Judicial Committee of the Congress of the United States voted 21-20 to break up the big techs. That's Google, that's Facebook, that's, what's the other one? Microsoft. Yeah, all break up all the big techs. They voted 21-20, so it's on the cards now.
That's great. If Julian was free today and you would see him, what would be your first words to him once he got out, when he does get out?
Oh, just, I don't know, something like, oh, it's been a while.
Mr. Shipton, thank you so much for your time. There's a lot of people waiting to meet you. Thank you so much, and good luck for Julian Assange. He does.
Mr. Shipton, nice to meet you. My name is Jonathan Mayorka. Jonathan. Yes, nice to meet you. So, you know, I like to talk a lot about action. And, you know, this press panel was it's great. And then the national run that you guys are doing, that's a great thing that's going on. What else can the people do, the audience back home, what else can they do to get people to know about this? You know, talking about it more, protesting, right? And like what places specifically do you think should be targeted as a protest place?
Well, the first element is just to examine and speak amongst yourselves and your community and friends and raise awareness. The second one is it's practical. Take up a petition which concerns only those constituents of the congressional district that you belong to. Take that to your congressman. Get 20, 30, 100, 200, 400 signatures on a petition asking the Department of Justice to bring the persecution of Julian Assange to an end. That's sufficient. It works in Australia, it works in the United Kingdom, it works in Germany, France, Spain. I'm pretty sure that the United States, it'll work as well.
So get a petition going, get the representatives in your local district to get a petition going, to get signatures in for and send it on in to Congress.
Yes, send it. Well, ask your congressman when he gets it to send it on to the Department of Justice, to Merrick Garland, because that's their responsibility, or the Judicial Committee of the Congress of the United States.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shipton. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Let's, I think. Oh,
Dr. Gabriel.
let's see if we can slide over a little bit to the left.
September, we're going to go to the military base.
First week of September. Got it. I'm down. I'm down.
Hey, how are you? Great. Good to see you too.
You want to do a little interview with Gabriel for us? We just hold the independent media news here. Who's that?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah. If, he hasn't even agreed to an interview yet, so we have to ask him and stuff.
No, it's okay.
I'll take the picture for you guys. Jump on in.
I'll be interviewing you on behalf of them, if you don't mind. Here in a minute.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
So, Gabriel, that's my friend Pasta. It's my friend Johnny Buttons. They're 2/3 of a show called the Convo Couch.
Yeah.
And this is stop 16?
Yeah, I think so. Stop 16. We've got one to go. Washington, D.C. Yeah.
And lucky me, I get to be there for that as well, or at least on the first. Yeah. So this is a month spent for you as an Australian citizen, reminding Americans how the First Amendment works. How weird is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like, John and I have a little laugh about it at the end of most days, coming and trying to convince Americans to stand up for their rights. I think it is bizarre. I mean, I never, asked me 3 or 4 years ago if I would be thinking I'd be doing this. I don't think I would have been.
What's been the most surprising aspect out of the journey so far?
Just the people, like just meeting people. Everyone's like, there's so many nice people out there. Julian suffered under all this, all these smears and mobbing for years and years, and so actually coming here and meeting Americans rather than America being this place where all this stuff emanates from. I think that has been, that's been the most special thing for me. It's just to actually meet real Americans who care about shit, that's been the best thing.
Gabriel, thank you very much. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Safe travels. We'll see you tomorrow and on in D.C.
Thanks, Steve.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you.
And I'll be giving this back to you.
Thank you very much. So, Steve, what about the information that came out yesterday as far as the FBI's main witness line? We asked.
It amazes me, Pasta, that the testimony of a convicted pedophile, a convicted embezzler who was also hired by the FBI to infiltrate and destabilize WikiLeaks, fabricated his testimony. I am
Surprised.
I'm stunned. Stunned. I stand before you agog. We've got no reason to be prosecuting Julian Assange whatsoever. Right now, Merrick Garland should be like, well, I guess my predecessor in the previous administration didn't do his homework, and shucks, because I guess we wanted to get the guy, but in hindsight it would look really, really bad to press forward with this based on the testimony of a lying pedophile.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Honest opinion, yeah?
Batteries are out.
Oh, my bad.
So I switched to speaker.
Well, I'm going to save those questions for tomorrow. But anyways, that's Steve over there and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I was going to start asking you questions about, I was going to say that that things aren't going to really change even with this testimony. It's not going to help Julian get out right now. They want him. But I was going to ask you, Snowden said something very similar. Snowden said that Julian Assange could be next. I want to know your thoughts on that comment.
I'm glad that Ed's on board today. I am. And it's helpful. It always is. It always is. But he's not wrong.
Yeah.
However, I feel like if they were going to do that, it would have already been done.
Yeah.
And that the point with Assange is to show the torture, to showcase the complete destruction of a human being, because that needs to be the message that is sent to anyone who would dare challenge a narrative.
Yeah.
Personally, I welcome the hate.
By the way, Steve will be with us tomorrow's live stream. Much more questions like that, ladies and gentlemen, so share, get it out there. Slow News Day in the fucking house tomorrow. Gonna have a great show. Love you. And we're gonna have fun.
That's true.
Are we signing off?
Yeah, do you want to sign off or you want to get Fee on it?
Yeah, if he wants to talk.
For Pasta Jardula, Fiorella Isabel, and Johnny Buttons,
We're out of here.
Convo out.